She's a 2021 Volunteer Toronto Legacy Award winner. She is the founder of Meagan's Hug, and she's raised over $6 million for pediatric brain tumor research. But her passion is creating a circle of hope that, along with kindness and compassion, feel like a hug. Welcome to My Kind Canadian. This week, it's Denise Bebenek. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Annie. I'm so happy and thrilled to be with you today.
So congratulations on the 20th anniversary of Meagan's Hug. It's unbelievable. It's been 20 years, and you've created such a community of kindness and compassion. I was wondering, how has your perception of kindness evolved, and how does it fit in with Meagan's mission?
Well, I'd have to say, since I was a little girl myself, I always loved life and kids and animals and music and had a great appreciation just for life itself. And I was blessed growing up in a community of very kind people and parents and a family who really honored the service of volunteerism and giving back. And that really we can do anything in this world when we put our hearts and minds to action. I've always been a believer in paying it forward, and really kindness is it's a simple concept, but it's a very impactful concept. And I think it makes this world of ours an even better place. And it can improve our well-being of our own selves and of others. And I did witness that growing up. And spent my year teaching and working in music through the years, traveling, enjoying the great gift of music in children. And then fortunate enough to have 3 of my own kiddos. And life was crazy. We had 3 in 5 years. Sadly, we ran into a very hard situation when our 3rd child, Meagan, was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. And at the time, I had no idea that brain tumors remain the #1 cause of cancer-related death in children and adolescents up to the age of 20. So when I witnessed a community here where we live in Toronto surround us with love and compassion and hope and take care of us, I quickly recognized that great gift of kindness and of embracing each other in times of sorrow. And I knew that after we sadly lost Meagan, something needed to be done to get this statistic under control. So because I was embraced with a loving community and the power of love and hope and a hug, I knew that was the best medicine for these kids that were suffering. And I also knew we had to do something to get this statistic under control. And I truly did not want any other mom or family have to walk what we did. I kept envisioning this human hug, and which really is all about kindness and coming together to hold people up, to take each other's hands in sorrow, and for people to understand they're not alone. I'm quite aware that one of the most challenging things we can go through as a human being is having to say goodbye to any of our children. It should not happen. And at the same time, we need to honor them, because I believe they're all gifts that come to this world to make it a better place. And so the intention too was through kindness to bring awareness to the seriousness of brain tumors and to bring families together to honor their children. So long story short, as I say, I kept dreaming about this hug and I went after it. And the day that I went in to ask for a permit, it was in the winter after Meg had passed. And I was told that that was a huge feat to hug a hospital for children, and that I just lost my child and, to go home. But I knew this gift of hope and kindness. And I knew there would be enough people that would get the ball rolling. And serendipity or not, the next day, the city of Toronto, 2 individuals who had gone to meet showed up at my front door with a permit in their hands and tears in their eyes, saying the only day you can do this is Mother's Day. And you go, girl, and we're here behind you.
No one
So my
says no to a mom.
then no one says, no one should
No.
say no to a mom. So my kitchen table became busy with teacups and coffee and cookies.
Yeah.
Lots of kind, beautiful people from all walks of life who came to support this journey. And I'd have to say, I'm only one in this circle of hope. Meagan represents all children, and every hand is so important in our circle as we try to help families with the impossible of having to say goodbye to a family member and put this statistic under control and just, hold each other up in times where kindness makes all the difference in the world.
Indeed. Now, this hug that you envisioned, it wasn't just a couple people hug. This was a hug that people held hands, stood around sick kids, and actually hugged the hospital. And
Mhm.
during this hug, that all the doctors and nurses and kids would look down on you. I've yet to do it, but I've heard Kim Stockwood is ambassador with you, how emotional it is. So tell me, like, what vision did you have that humans would actually hug a building, a hospital?
Well, I knew that every person in a child's life, from their neighbor to uncle to family member to teacher, um, was a part of the journey.
Mm.
And I wanted to bring the family and their community together to walk for the children. And knowing that a hug is really the best medicine. Um, it was an atrocious day of weather that the doctor said, Megan's a monkey. She made it the worst possible so that nothing would stop the power of our human spirit. And I say that's really a big part of the vision, is that, one person in this world makes a huge difference. Together, when we fight to stand united for any cause, anybody that does anything for any charity, I think it's so important in giving back and being part of a collaborative community, honoring a bigger picture. But when we stand united, it's just a lot louder and it's a lot more powerful. So we were able to walk up to the hospital and we created the first ever human hug that I've been told in the world of its kind, with 800 people. And there
Wow.
were doctors and nurses and family
Mm.
members, and all walks of life. And yes, indeed, when you looked up, the windows were covered with faces,
Mm.
and kids in wheelchairs and kids standing with their family members. And I could see that they were receiving this healing energy. It's one thing to have a cure for children that are suffering, but in the meantime, I think it's so important that we let them know they're not alone and that we're here for
We
them.
see them.
And as a community of hope, the bigger we get, the stronger we are, the more they feel, and it puts more awareness to the seriousness of Meagan's disease. There's too many other Meagans waiting for us to do this. And now, 20 years later, because of kindness and because of so many incredible human beings who rolled up their sleeves and put their shoulders to the wheel and stood united. I think we started with about a dozen people in my living room, a teacher, somebody in accounting, somebody in comms, somebody in media relations, all different walks of life that coached me, that helped me. And now we have an office here in Toronto, and we've got over 60 volunteers from all different communities and walks of life, a community involvement team, an arts team, a school team, our
Wow.
walk hug team, our communications team, a partnership team, because all of that is the essential ingredients really to make our hug happen. And I guess the last one before the pandemic,
Mhm.
we had a few thousand people,
Wow.
people that came in on planes and buses to our great city to support our kiddos here. But it's always been a global vision. The day I dreamed of this hug, it was a global hug for all children who suffer, putting awareness into the seriousness of Meagan's disease, indeed. But I think that every children's hospital is deserving of this hug.
Right.
And when we put our hearts and minds to action, nothing is impossible. This is I think, a beautiful example of what human beings can do when they come together as a community of hope and kindness and love for those who need us, especially our children.
And this year, as every year, it's always been held on Mother's Day, which is
It-
so just a beautiful day to remember everyone.
So it
And
actually is Mother's Day weekend. It did
weekend.
start
Okay.
on Mother's Day, just so I don't
Okay.
get in trouble. Meagan's Hug happens on Mother's Day weekend, this year on Saturday, May 7th. And we are planning to move ahead in a very safe way to bring the families and communities. And this year we've pivoted to our own charitable number, which is very exciting for Meagan's Hug,
Congratulations. Yeah.
where we will for sure always support sick kids and always support brain tumor research. We've been told now that the impact of kindness is quite significant, as we've been able to raise over $6 million for pediatric brain tumor
Wow.
research. And we started with about, I would say, a dozen, maybe 16 researchers, doctors at the Brain Tumor Research Center here in Toronto. And now we're up to over 165 of them. And we have a beautiful, a very powerful, actually, fellowship program, whereby part of our funds brings fellows in from different parts of the world. And they live here in Toronto. They learn, they collaborate, and then they go back to their country.
Wow.
And they've started work there. And so this is the vision, not my vision, our vision, as we collaborate and bring the top scientists together, because there's no boundaries for brain tumors in kids, and there's it's a global problem. And so now all these doctors are connecting because of the work we've done here. And at our recent 20th year anniversary, Honks for Hope, where we came together in Downsview Park safely with the families and the doctors. And my vision too, our vision, has always been to encourage people to give back, to share their gifts with others, and hence enter our arts team. Fabulous musicians and artists and dancers who stand united for these kids. And I think that at the best of times, we need to remain hopeful and provide happiness to them as well. So at any event that we've had various galas and community initiatives. I've always encouraged artists to come and play and offer their gifts to these kiddos. So we had some fabulous people show their support. And yes,
Jim Cuddy.
Kim Stockwood's always been a very dear friend to Meagan's Hug, and to me personally, as she gets the bigger picture of the hug. We had Jim Cuddy and his sons. We had a Sharon, Lois, and Brom sing along with Sharon and her daughter, and just it was just full of energy and kindness and love, and the impact. What I'm getting at is the doctors filled the stage with the kids who would not have been here otherwise, if we didn't sort of put our shoulders to the wheel to raise awareness about the seriousness of pediatric brain tumors. And to me, that's proof in the pudding. That's the whole intention of this world. Is truly, in my humble opinion, a pretty remarkable place. And if we all collectively, individually and collectively, give more hope and kindness, then we can make it even better for these kids. So it was very emotional indeed to see them standing with their families and enjoying such a day. It was really beautiful.
I had the pleasure of interviewing Kim Stockwood a few weeks back here. She was one of my kind Canadians. And she told me about how wonderful you are and that you are a singer. You guys actually collaborated on a song. It's on iTunes. I've listened to it. It's fantastic. Who knew you had that gift?
Well, as I say, I was
She said you were great.
I love music. I've been involved in music and actually did some work in music therapy with kids here in Toronto before I went to Teachers College. And it is a beautiful gift. And I think Meagan, on a personal note, wouldn't want me to lose that. And I'm always encouraging people to live their gifts and to share them with others. So we came up with this song, Kim and I, Love is a River. And I think it speaks to the power of life and that love is a gift unto itself. And so we sang this together and recorded it in a dear friend's studio, who's an incredible musician, Tim Babaconti. And then it became the hug song. So
Ah,
once the last hand is joined around the circle, we release a couple of balloons and they play a song that's particularly this hug song for that day, for that year. And so it was pretty emotional to hear that. And I'm forever grateful to Kim for sharing her gifts with these kids and with myself personally.
so a lot of people always say to me, I'm really busy. I don't have time to volunteer. What can I do? And I say, if you want something done, ask a busy person, right? That's what they say. How do people get involved? What are small steps they can do to get involved, to start the kindness? Because I feel now more than ever we need it.
And you know what? You don't have to offer a lot of time as a volunteer. I feel that one of the greatest things we can do on this earth while we're here is to volunteer and offer our gifts, our talents, our time, our services. A little bit can go a long way. So on our teams, as I shared, we have a hug team where the members are involved in putting our signature event together. And then we have a community engagement team where we have various community partners, and these members work throughout the year to find our partners and to create opportunities of sharing our message through the community. And then we have a fabulous school program
Mm.
whereby the teacher in me knew the importance of teaching empowerment and leadership and giving back. And we do what's called a spirit day, where the kids do all sorts of ideas for like pizza day, dress down day, something to celebrate our message of hope, do some fundraising. And in particular, at the end of the spirit day or spirit week, we hug their school.
No.
And every school has a Meagan. And I know there have been teachers who have said to me personally, you know, little Johnny was so quiet, always sitting in the back of the room. And then he realized, wow, I can do something to help and to make this world a better place. And we have had a lot of kids come through the school system that have been empowered and knowing they can make a difference and are shining stars in our program. And one of our kids from one of our schools actually is now leading as a volunteer the Meagan's Hug
Wow.
School program. So I'm very passionate about it. Because I think there's a lot we can do when kids are younger at the community level to empower them and to give them the skills and the virtues of kindness, and that we're not alone. You know, one voice is fantastic, but together we're stronger. We can change the world. And I've watched it. I've watched these kids grow up and now are a part of our team and stand united because of how it impacted their lives. And none of them had a brain tumor or knew anyone with a brain tumor, but they knew about the power of
Mm.
kindness and hope and humanity. And I tell you, you ever want to see our human spirit shine through these kids, they're my heroes. I will forever say I stand on the shoulders of some pretty remarkable human beings. I'm adamant that it's always important to me. I'm one in the circle. If there was one person missing in our circle of hope, it wouldn't be as powerful at it as it is. And we've only just begun. The world is indeed waiting for our hug, I think more than ever before. It needs it. And our kiddos around the world need it. And now the doctors are so excited. They made a few announcements this year at our 20th anniversary that we are indeed on to some very exciting scientific breakthroughs because of what started here in Toronto. So people who've stood beside me and behind our team should be so proud. It doesn't take much to just put your hand up and say, I can help. Little bits added up are the rainbow. I just think it's, you know, it's everyone's gifts together that makes anything in life a success. We can't do it alone, and we shouldn't have to be living any life's successes. We need to celebrate them, and life's challenges, we need to hold on to each other and just remember that we're stronger together.
Denise, thank you for sharing Megan's story, and thank you for sharing your journey and showing us that the power of a hug can change everything. And this is where entertainment and charity meet.